Welcome to the HFY Tales channel. Remember to like and subscribe if you like the story. Enjoy and take care.
The sky, a murky gray, loomed over the remnants of what was once a thriving city. Eroded buildings jutted from the ground like broken teeth, their surfaces marred by time and conflict. Aiden navigated the debris-strewn streets, each step echoing in the silence. Years of war had ravaged this land, and survival had become a brutal contest, a desperate game where the strong prevailed, and the weak simply disappeared. He paused at the edge of a shattered concrete block, glancing at the skyline. A surge of memories washed over him, laughter, joy, and community, now extinguished from his life as swiftly as the sun disappeared behind the clouds. With a heavy heart, he shifted his gaze to the distant alien settlement. The colors were vibrant, a stark contrast to the desolation of human lands. But beneath the allure lay fear, for the aliens were not known for their kindness, especially towards humans. Aiden's stomach growled, reminding him of his own desperation. He barely scraped through each day, sometimes through thievery, other times through barter. But even in this desolation, the thought of betrayal gnawed at his conscience. Then he heard it, a sharp yelp, followed by a high-pitched voice that echoed into the depths of the empty streets. He turned, instinctively crouching low behind the debris. The sound was unmistakable, Zyra. His heart raced as he made his way towards the source, dodging pieces of twisted metal and jagged glass. Emerging into a small clearing, he beheld the scene unfolding before him. A group of aliens, tall, slender beings with iridescent skin, stood resolutely over Zyra. Her expression was a mixture of defiance and fear. The traders had come for their rations, and she was more than willing to fight for her freedom. "They're selling you for a sack of rations," one of the traders barked, his voice dripping with disdain. "Your sisters have made their choice, and they think you can fetch a good price." Zyra clenched her fists, her alien features morphing into anger. "I am worth far more than a mere sack of food," she shouted, her voice echoing across the clearing, betraying her fear with an underlying strength. Aiden's heart clenched at the sight. Zyra's alien sisters, once so hopeful, had succumbed to desperation. It was a reminder of how far the world had fallen, how easily kin turned against one another in times of need. He risked a step forward, adrenaline surging through his veins. "Let her go." Aiden's voice rang out, firm and unwavering despite the tremor that threatened to crack it. The traders turned to him, their eyes narrowing with curiosity, then grew smug. "Look, a human. You must be hungry, too. Perhaps we can make a trade?" One of them sneered. "I'm not trading my friend for scraps. Let her go." Aiden stepped closer, his heart pounding in his chest, the instinct to protect burning bright. Zyra turned to him, her face a flicker of surprise and hope. "Aiden, no. It's not worth it." Before Aiden had time to process her words, chaos erupted. The aliens lunged at him, their movements fluid and lightning fast. Aiden ducked and weaved, adrenaline sharpening his senses. In that moment, it didn't matter who they were. His only focus was protecting Zyra. With a sudden burst of courage, Aiden charged at the nearest trader, tackling him to the ground. A fierce struggle ensued, both combatants grappling for dominance, but Aiden's fury fueled him. For Zyra, for the countless lives stolen by desperation, he would fight. The other traders turned their attention on Aiden, swinging around with renewed aggression. But as fists flew and shouts filled the air, he felt an isolation that cut deeper than physical blows. This wasn't just about saving one alien. This was a fight against a system that thrived on existence's fragility. In the next moments, he found himself separated from Zyra, the traders gaining the upper hand and retreating with her. As Aiden landed staggered blows, the instinct to rescue her clashed with the dawning realization that he had become another victim of this merciless game. And just like that, she was slipping away. Aiden stumbled back into the shadows, heart pounding against his chest. He could still hear Zyra's voice echoing in his ears, filled with anger and fear. The traders had taken her, and the world around him fell silent, numbed by the weight of loss. But Aiden was not one to give up easily. He couldn't afford to. He took a deep breath, refocusing his determination. Zigzagging through the collapsed buildings, he navigated the back alleys, his mind racing with thoughts of how to mount a rescue. Each curve he turned in the labyrinthine ruins fueled his resolve. Aiden met up with his friend and mentor Baxter, a grizzled veteran who had seen firsthand the brutality of both humans and aliens. Baxter stood beside a makeshift campfire, the flickering flames casting shadows across his lined face. When he saw Aiden, his expression shifted from one of surprise to stern concern. "What happened out there?" Baxter asked, eyes narrowing. "They took Zyra," Aiden said, his voice laced with frustration. "They were going to sell her. I tried to save her, but—" "You know how they are," Baxter interrupted, shaking his head. "Their mindset is different. She's just a commodity to them, nothing more." Aiden clenched his jaw. "But she's more, she's a person. She deserves better than this." Baxter sighed, running a hand through his thinning hair. "And what are you going to do about it? Charge back in there, guns blazing? That will get you killed, and her too." "Then what? Just let them take her? I can't live with that." Aiden's voice rose, desperation creeping in. "I'm not giving up on her." Baxter paused, studying Aiden's unwavering eyes. "You'll need a plan. We need allies, information. The traitors aren't just a bunch of thugs. They have connections." "Connections?" Aiden echoed, his mind racing. "Where do I find them?" "Follow the trail of desperation. The traitors keep their fingers in every pie. Start at the marketplace, an underground bazaar filled with secrets, where the air is thick with desperation and deals made in shadows." Aiden nodded, determination flooding through him. "I'll do it." As night descended, Aiden set out toward the marketplace, weaving through the remnants of civilization, stepping cautiously into the underbelly of the alien world. The marketplace was a cacophony of voices, alien languages mixing with human dialects, a swirling realm of life against a backdrop of decay. The colors were warm and inviting, yet the atmosphere felt tense, a facade masking deeper troubles. As he entered, he noticed a flicker of eyes darting his way. Humans were few and far between here among the aliens. Aiden felt the weight of their indecipherable gazes, the lingering question of whether he was intruding in a world that had no place for him. He approached a stall laden with exotic goods, the vendor, a squat, green-skinned alien with bulging eyes, regarding him with curiosity. "What do you want, human?" the vendor grunted. Aiden steeled himself. "I'm looking for information about the traitors. A friend has been taken by them. I need to know where they are hiding." "Information comes at a price," the vendor replied with a smirk. "What's your offering?" Desperation clawed at Aiden's chest, but he had little to barter. He reached into his pocket, where he had tucked a few rations for himself, barely enough to last a day. "I can offer food. It's not much, but it's all I have." The vendor's bulging eyes narrowed, and he leaned in closer. "Food? From a human? You must be desperate. All right, I'll hear you out. But I hope you've got more than just tales to spin." Aiden took a deep breath, pacing his words carefully. "There's an alien traitor named Vrasic. I need to know where I can find him or his base of operations." A glimmer of interest flickered in the vendor's gaze. "Vrasic, you say? He's not known for his hospitality, but there's talk of a shipment, a new batch of merchandise. You might find him at the Crimson Dock in 2 days' time. Good luck, human. You will need it." Aiden felt a spark of hope ignite within him. "Thank you." He turned to leave, but the vendor called after him. "Be careful, human. There are those who watch. Your kind here are not trusted." Aiden sank deeper into the shadows, heart racing with both fear and urgency. He knew he had little time. He had to prepare for the upcoming confrontation, but he couldn't shake the feeling that his journey wouldn't just be a battle for Zyra's freedom. It would also be a struggle against the perceptions of both the human and alien worlds. With renewed determination, Aiden exited the marketplace, prepared to face whatever lay ahead. He would save Zyra or die trying. He tightened his fists, the warmth of hope a steady pulse against the cold against his fears. The night air was thick with unease as Aiden returned to the crumbling remnants of his hideout. The flickering light of his campfire illuminated the worn expressions of the few survivors huddled around it. Each face told a story of loss and struggle, yet Aiden's heart carried a singular purpose, Zyra. As he approached, Baxter looked up, concern lining his features. "What did you find out?" he asked, already anticipating the news. A vendor at the marketplace told me about a shipment. Vrasik will be at the Crimson Dock in 2 days. That's where I'll find Zyra, Aiden replied, determination lacing his voice. Baxter nodded slowly, but added, You can't go in alone. It's too dangerous. You'll need allies. Aiden hesitated, the thought of bringing others into his fight weighing heavily on him. Who can I trust? I barely know anyone in this world. Baxter's face hardened. You'll never know until you ask. There are groups out there, survivors like us. Look for the outcasts. They have reason to despise the traitors. With Baxter's words weighing heavily on his mind, Aiden set out again, his footsteps echoing through the darkened streets. This time, he sought the forgotten corners of the city, places where the lost gathered. After an evening of searching, he found himself in a dimly lit tavern, the Rusty Blade. The air was thick with smoke and layered with the sounds of hushed conversations. Humans and aliens alike mingled under the glare of old, flickering lights, creating an atmosphere heavy with uncertainty and desperation. As Aiden stepped inside, eyes turned toward him, some in warning, others in curiosity. He approached the bar, his heart pounding. I need to speak to anyone who might know of the traitors, he said, keeping his voice steady. The bartender, a towering figure with piercing orange eyes, regarded him with a mixture of disdain and intrigue. Why should I help a human? He rumbled, folding his arms over his chest. Because I'm not just any human, I'm willing to fight, Aiden replied, frustration edging into his voice. And I'm looking for allies who want to take down the traitors. A low chuckle erupted from the corner of the room, followed by the emergence of a female figure, a slender, sharp-featured alien with silver skin and hair as black as night. Her eyes sparkled with mischief and curiosity. There's always a price to pay for rebellion, she said, circling Aiden like a predator sizing up its prey. Who are you to think you can take on Vrasik? A friend of mine was taken by him. I'll do whatever it takes to get her back, Aiden asserted, meeting her gaze with fiery determination. The alien tilted her head, intrigue evident in her posture. And what makes you think you can succeed where many have failed? The traitors are ruthless. Because I'm not doing this for glory or gain. I'm doing it for loyalty, for love, Aiden replied, his voice firm. I believe in our shared suffering, the connection that binds us, and together we can be stronger. Her words ring true. A voice broke through. An imposing figure entered the tavern, a broad-shouldered man covered in scars, his presence demanding attention. We are all fighting for something out here. I'm willing to join you, but you must prove your worth. Show us you are not just talk. Aiden swallowed hard, sensing the weight of all eyes upon him. If it's worth it to you, I'll fight. I'll find a way to save Zyra, with or without you. The alien woman grinned slowly, contagious excitement sparkling in her eyes. Then let's make a plan. My name is Kayla. Let's put you through your paces, Aiden. For the next hour, Aiden participated in a series of drills under Kayla's watchful eye. She taught him basic combat techniques, pushing him to tap into his inner strength. With each move, he felt himself grow stronger, fueled by the thought of Zyra waiting for him somewhere in the shadows. Once the exercises were concluded, Kayla and the scarred man, who introduced himself as Torek, sat with Aiden. We need to gather more intel before you confront Vrasik, Torek stated, rubbing the stubble on his jaw. I have contacts who can help us with that, but they'll expect something in return. Whatever they want, I'll do it, Aiden replied in a tone more resolute than he had ever felt. Kayla nodded approvingly. Then we move at dawn. Be ready. Bring your best. As Aiden left the tavern, a sense of camaraderie washed over him. In the depths of uncertainty and fear, he had found allies willing to join his cause. For the first time since Zyra was taken, hope ignited a fire within him. As he returned to the hideout, visions of their battle against the traitors danced in his mind, filling him with a blend of dread and excitement. He would reclaim his friend, and together they would break the chains of oppression binding them all. Dawn broke slowly over the horizon, casting an eerie glow through the cracked windows of Aiden's hideout. The air felt electric with anticipation as he gathered his gear for the upcoming mission. Each item, a worn weapon, A small assortment of rations and a tattered map of the alien territories reminded him of the stakes at hand. Zyra's freedom hung in the balance, and he was determined to not let her down again. As he stepped outside, he found Kayla and Torek waiting for him. The sun was just beginning to rise, illuminating their determined expressions. Kayla looked fierce, clad in lightweight armor that hugged her form, accentuating her agility. Torek stood slightly behind her, an imposing figure ready for combat. "Ready?" Kayla asked, raising an eyebrow. "More than ever," Aiden replied, his heart hammering with both adrenaline and nerves. "Good. We'll head to the Crimson Dock first, but we need to gather intel on Vrasik's operation. If we're going to rescue Zyra, we cannot go in blind," Kayla instructed, her tone firm. "Where do we start?" Aiden asked. "We have a contact named Garrick. He runs a small supply train that often docks near the trade routes. He knows the traders and their movements. We can catch him at the market before he ships out," Torek added. The three of them moved through the twisting alleys, the sounds of the waking city enveloping them. Crammed between decaying buildings, the streets buzzed with activity. Aiden relished the chaotic energy, using it to fuel his own focus. As they arrived at the market, Aiden's heart raced. The colorful stalls were filled with goods from all corners of the galaxy. Strange fruits, exotic spices, and wares that hinted at the lives lost in this struggle. Humans and aliens bartered and exchanged goods with a sense of urgency. Spotting a lean alien figure loaded with equipment, Kayla motioned for Aiden and Torek to follow. They approached the figure, who was busy arranging crates on a nearby cart. "Garrick," Kayla called out, her tone firm yet friendly. The alien turned around, his eyes sharp and calculating as they landed on Aiden. "What do you need?" "We're looking for information about Vrasik's operations. We need a plan and approach to the Crimson Dock," Kayla explained. "Vrasik, you say?" Garrick's expression shifted. There was fear in his eyes. "That's not a name to invoke lightly. He's got eyes everywhere. But I owe you my life, Kayla. What do you want to know? Are there any shipments scheduled? Anything unusual?" Aiden pressed, feeling the urgency rising. Garrick scratched his chin thoughtfully. "There's been increased traffic lately. I heard whispers of a shipment coming in tonight. Not just goods, new captives as well. Vrasik has been stockpiling more of us for trade." Aiden's heart sank at the thought of other captives. "Where will the shipment arrive?" "The docks are always a bustle, but they tend to focus their attention on the far pier. That's where you'll find the incoming cargo tonight," Garrick replied, his expression wary. "Thank you," Aiden said, determination igniting within him. "Can you distract the traders when the shipment arrives? We'll need time to make our move." Garrick hesitated but saw the fire in Aiden's eyes. "I'll do what I can, but be careful. Vrasik is not to be trifled with. Just because you have passion doesn't mean he'll show mercy." "We don't need mercy, we need action," Torek interjected, his voice steady. As they left Garrick, the trio began to strategize, Kayla taking the lead. They met in an empty corner of the market, using scraps of paper to map out their plan. "I'll create a diversion on the opposite side of the dock. As chaos ensues, you both make your way to the shipment area. Aiden, you'll need to keep your head low, just another face in the crowd," Kayla instructed. Aiden nodded, anxiety simmering beneath his skin. The image of Zyra's determined face flashed in his mind, fueling his resolve. "I can handle myself. I'll do anything to get her back," he promised. "Then it's settled. We reconvene here once the shipment arrives. No matter what, we stick together," Kayla affirmed, her gaze steely. As they dispersed to prepare, Aiden felt shaky yet resolute. He made sure to gather the supplies he'd need and sharpened his resolve with every passing moment. This mission transcended mere rescue. It was a fight against the cruelty that had taken everything from him. That night, the streets fluttered with tension as they approached the docks. The shadows deepened, and the air throbbed with anticipation. Aiden's heart beat alongside the rhythm of the city, each pulse a step closer to Zyra. When they reached the outskirts of the dock, Aiden took a moment to steady himself. They huddled behind a stack of crates, peering into the bustling scene before them. The Crimson Dock pulsed with energy, surrounded by strung-up lights that clashed against the dark sky. Traders moved about with purpose, and in the distance, the sound of cargo vessels arriving echoed in the air. "This is it," Kayla murmured, her expression tense. "Stay sharp, and remember, don't lose sight of each other." Aiden nodded, feeling a mix of trepidation and exhilaration. He could almost hear Zyra's voice in his mind, urging him forward. He was ready, not just to find her, but to confront the world itself. The night loomed before them, and soon, the chaos they would create would become the key to their victory, or their downfall. The air at the Crimson Dock crackled with tension as Aiden, Kayla, and Torek positioned themselves behind the crates, their hearts synchronized with the rhythmic sounds of the cargo ship's docking. Aiden felt the pulse of adrenaline coursing through his veins, propelling him into the heart of the impending chaos. "Remember the plan," Kayla whispered, her voice cutting through the clamoring noises around them. "Once I create the diversion, we move toward the shipment." "Got it," Aiden replied, his eyes scanning the dock for any sign of danger as the shadows from the incoming vessels swayed ominously in the glow of the dock lights. With a final nod, Kayla slipped stealthily into the fray, her figure melding with the surrounding chaos as she moved toward the opposite side of the dock. Aiden felt his heart race. She was their only chance at distracting the traders. Minutes stretched painfully as Aiden waited, the tension thick in the air. Torek stood beside him, muscles coiled, ready for action. Suddenly, the comically loud crash of crates tumbling over broke through the ambient noise, triggering a sense of urgency. "Go!" Aiden shouted before darting forward, his instincts firing as he raced across the dock toward the cluster of crates where Zyra's presence was likely hidden. The decibels of chaos intensified as traders shouted in confusion. Aiden could almost hear Kayla's sly laughter mingling with the sound of shattering glass. As they rushed forward, they maneuvered around frantic aliens and agitated humans. Aiden spotted a group of traders clustered near a large container, their attention diverted by Kayla's antics. "There!" he motioned to Torek, pointing toward a towering crate marked with a symbol of a large alien eye. The shapes of several figures huddled nearby, captive souls bound by fate. With speed and determination, Aiden and Torek moved closer, their suppressed breaths mingling with the heavy air. "Keep lookout," Aiden whispered, determination burning bright in his chest. Torek nodded, scanning the area for any threats. Aiden approached the crate, his heart pounding as he pried at the top with all his strength. It cracked open, revealing a dimmed interior filled with more than just goods, captives. "Oh, Zyra," he breathed, peering into the darkness. Lines of weary faces stared back at him. A familiar form lay among them, tied, but there she was, Zyra. He felt a compelling urge to reach out, but remained vigilant, fearing the immediate danger might tear them apart again. "Help us!" A voice from within called, low and hoarse, but unmistakably hers. Aiden's hands worked feverishly, untying the binds that held her in a cruel embrace. "Imhere, Zyra. I'll get you out." Suddenly, a loud commotion erupted behind them. A group of traders, alerted by the disturbance of Kayla's antics, began rushing toward Aiden. A chill ran down his spine as he registered their grim expressions. "Torek," he shouted, "we need to hurry." Torek stood firm, body tensed and ready for the impending confrontation. "I'll hold them off. Get her out." "No," Aiden protested, feeling the weight of the decision crush his resolve. "We need to go together." But Torek pushed him firmly. "We don't have time. You're not going to lose her again." Just then, Zyra's eyes widened as she freed herself, adrenaline bursting through her weary frame. "Aiden, we have to leave now." "Zyra," he gasped, finally releasing her binds and pulling her close, relief flooding his senses. "I thought I lost you." Tears glimmered in her eyes as she placed her hands on his cheeks, their foreheads nearly touching. "You found me. Now we fight." Before Aiden could respond, a group of traders stormed toward them, weapons drawn and snarls of anger escaping their lips. Fury ignited with vengeance, one that promised violence. "Go!" Torek shouted, engaging the first two with a fierce kick that sent one assailant crashing into a nearby crate. Aiden grabbed Zyra's wrist and pulled her behind him. "We need to move." In tandem, they lurched from the crate, adrenaline fueling their flight. Aiden shot glances back at Torek, who was holding his ground against an onslaught of traitors. The sounds of yelling and clashing echoed in Aiden's ears, but he had no choice. He had to protect Zyra. Through the maze of crates and ships, they ran, weaving narrowly through panicked bodies as chaos erupted around them. Aiden could feel Zyra at his side, her presence a steadying force amidst the brutality of their escape. Through sheer desperation, they made it toward an alley, a narrow escape route shrouded in shadows. Aiden shoved Zyra against the wall, ducking low as a traitor shouted from behind, white-hot anger in his voice. "We'll catch you, you filthy tramps. You won't escape." Aiden felt Zyra's fingers intertwined with his, the warmth comforting against the chill of impending danger. Her eyes glowed with determination, her spirit unquenched. "We can't give up. There's a way out through the side passage here." She motioned to a sliver of light between the gutted remnants of what was once a loading bay. With swift urgency, they darted down the passage, thoughts racing. As Aiden glanced over his shoulder, he spotted Torek still fighting valiantly against the traitor's fray. "Torek!" he yelled, desperation clawing at his throat. "Keep going." Torek growled, fending off another assailant. "I'll hold them off as long as I can. Get her to safety." "Come with us," Aiden shouted back, but Torek's fierce resolve silenced his unrest. In that moment of pausing, time stood still as Aiden and Zyra stood frozen. The choice to leave or stay weighed heavily on their hearts. But they were left with no choice. The danger loomed closer. "Let's go," Aiden finally urged, gripping Zyra's hand as they slipped away into the shadows of the alley. As they fled the chaos of the dock, Aiden's heart thundered in his chest. He felt torn between the safety of his friend at his side and the knowledge of the sacrifice Torek was making for them. The world held its breath around them. The night was still alive with the echoes of conflict. But as they moved further from the docks, Aiden whispered a silent promise to do whatever it took to make sure the crushing weight of loss would no longer haunt him. He would fight for all of them. And so they dashed into the night, a reunion of hope tangled with uncertainty, but steadfast in their resolve to reclaim the lives and futures they dared to reach for. Aiden and Zyra sprinted through the winding alleyways, the adrenaline pulsing through their veins as they navigated away from the chaos of the docks. With every step, Aiden felt the weight of their escape begin to lift, but it was accompanied by a nagging worry. What had become of Torek? "Where do we go now?" Zyra gasped, urgency lacing her words. The adrenaline that had propelled them forward now threatened to cinch around Aiden's heart, squeezing tighter with every passing moment. "Anywhere but here," Aiden replied, scanning their surroundings. "We need to regroup. If Torek can hold off the traitors, we have to find a safe place where we can plan our next move." As they turned a corner, the night opened up to a deserted square, a forgotten space once alive with laughter, now nothing but hollow echoes of what it used to be. A flickering street lamp illuminated the area, casting shadows that danced ominously around them. Aiden pulled Zyra close, his mind racing. "We need to contact Garrick. He should know what to do next," he recalled. "Maybe he has an idea of where to take us." "Let's hope he's still at the market," Zyra said, her voice steadying as she took in Aiden's expression. "We should also check on Torek. We can't just leave him behind." "Agreed. But we have to be cautious. The traitors will be on high alert after what we did," Aiden warned, worry etching his features. "We'll need to move quickly." As they made their way back to the market, Aiden felt the weight of dread growing heavier on his shoulders. The streets seemed more hostile, the shadows deeper, yet their resolve pushed them forward. They ducked behind crates and walls, finally arriving at the market just before dawn. The vibrant energy of the night had vanished. Only remnants of chaos lingered. Aiden spotted Garrick, sorting through supplies, a worried expression on his face. "Aiden," Garrick exclaimed as he approached them, relief crashing against the tension that surrounded them. "You made it. Is everything all right?" "No," Aiden responded, heart racing. "We managed to escape with Zyra, but we left Torek behind. He's fighting the traitors to buy us time." Garrick's brows furrowed. "Torek? He's a good one. He'd never back down. But we need to find a way to help him. There's still a chance." "Is there a back entrance to the dock?" Zyra asked, her determination rekindled. Yes, but the traitors are everywhere. They'll be watching for anyone trying to escape after the commotion, Garrick replied, urgency creeping into his voice. We can't abandon him, Aiden insisted, determination hardening his resolve into steel. We'll go back. We owe it to him. Zyra nodded in agreement, her face set with defiance. For every moment we fight to survive, we fight for those who've fallen into darkness. Then let's move, Garrick said, leading the way through the winding paths back toward the dock. As they approached the dock, Aiden could see the remnants of the earlier chaos. A few traders were still milling about, searching for signs of their escaped captives. Each uncertainty deepened Aiden's fear. Would Torek still be holding on? We need to create a distraction again, Aiden urged as they crouched behind the crates once more. I'll draw their attention, and you can go to find Torek. No, Zyra replied firmly, her gaze steady. Together. We go together. Taking a breath, Aiden nodded, grateful for her unwavering spirit. Before long, a distraction presented itself when they spotted a small group of traders gathered near the far pier, arguing about an incomplete shipment. This is our chance, Garrick said, a spark of mischief dancing in his eyes. We create a bit of noise and get them all riled up. With that, they set their plan into motion. Aiden and Zyra moved silently toward the entrance they'd spotted earlier. Meanwhile, Garrick began knocking over crates, creating a cacophony of sound that drew the traders away from their posts. Now, go, Aiden urged Zyra as they slipped into the opening, adrenaline surging. As they moved deeper into the shadows of the dock, their hearts raced, the looming uncertainty fueling their resolve. Torek, Aiden called softly, straining to hear anything that would betray his presence. Over here. Torek's voice responded, sounding breathless yet undeterred. Aiden and Zyra hurried toward the sound, fear and hope mingling as they turned a corner. Torek stood against a crate, bruised but still fierce, fending off two traders who were advancing, weapons drawn. Aiden surged forward, seizing a nearby metal rod, while Zyra grabbed a shipping crate to use as a shield. Together, Aiden shouted as they rushed in, a surge of teamwork propelling them. With coordinated strikes, the trio fought like a well-oiled machine, their movements fluid, almost instinctual as they dodged and retaliated against the traders' absorbing punishment without losing hope. Aiden felt the overwhelming weight of his fears lift as he fought beside his friends, channeling every ounce of energy into protecting them. As the last trader fell, panting breathless and victorious, they turned to one another, faces streaked with dust, yet now lit with triumph. We did it, Zyra said, her tenderness shining through the surrounding chaos. The embrace they shared solidified their bond, a reminder of what they had fought for. Are you okay? Aiden's voice was urgent, scanning Torek for injuries. Nothing I can't handle. Torek grinned, despite his bruises. You two fought well. The moment was brief. The chaos and the fear of capture still lingered. Let's get out of here, Aiden urged. We need to find Garrick and get to safety. As dawn broke over the horizon, the sky flickered with hints of orange and pink, a new beginning as they emerged from the docks. Together, they found reprieve at Garrick's supply station, a sanctuary forged through friendship and adversity, a haven amidst the chaos. I can help get you to a safe zone, away from the traders. It'll take time, but you have to promise you stay close, Garrick stated, guiding them into a hidden chamber filled with supplies. We will, Aiden assured. In the days that followed, they worked together to create a new life, one grounded in the connections they forged in desperation. Zyra found solace in opening trade routes for her people, while Aiden poured his heart into ensuring no one else would suffer the same fate they had nearly faced. And as they built their new world, Aiden found himself looking at Zyra, a deep bond forming between them, a partnership that transcended species and adversity. They had weathered the storm together and emerged with renewed purpose. Together, they stood at the dawn of a new beginning, one shaped by their struggles, but illuminated by hope. With the past behind them, they faced the future hand in hand, ready to explore the uncharted worlds that awaited